Good evening, everyone. Melissa B here. Welcome to Carnivore Chats. Turn that light down a little bit. Actually, how is everybody? Say hi when you jump on. I think I might just pop my blue blockers on because it's that time of night, actually. Right, so tonight we've got Zane Griggs joining us. I'll get him on in a minute. Zane and I met when I was in the States recently, and we had some wonderful chats. And as you all know, Zane's part of a new animal documentary film, and so we'll talk a bit about that tonight and all things carnivore and health and fitness. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my lighting. What are we doing here? This might not work. Okay, let's get Zane on. Take the glasses off. We can get this on. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Just trying to get Zane on at the minute. Really excited to have Zane on. Get him to share a lot about himself and his role in the new animal documentary film. Zane, I sent you an invite. Are you getting that? Yeah.
I think it worked.
Yeah, it did. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Prop it here somewhere on my coffee.
It's morning there, right? Very early?
It's about 6 a.m. where I am.
Awesome. Nice. How are you? Great to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah, it's been a bit.
Yes. I think it's been about 6 weeks. Or maybe more. Yeah, about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Busy time for you over there with the launch of the film.
Yeah, it's been a lot online, obviously, a lot with promoting and people, a lot of comments, a lot of activity, people asking for it in other countries as well. A lot of people in Europe and I think in Australia as well asking when is it going to be available. I think that's all within a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. It should be around the world, but
Yeah.
it's kicked off here in the U.S. pretty well. It hit #1 on Apple Plus, #1 documentary, and then I
Yes.
think I saw us as high as 67 in all movies on Apple, which was insane. There's no other
Wow.
documentaries range, but it hit over the weekend. It hit 67 in all movies on Apple Plus, which was, just amazing. Just to see that kind of activity for a diet-based documentary of any kind, So yeah, it's well received.
That's so good. So for those who don't know, I met Zane at Meatstock back in May when I travelled to Tennessee, which was amazing. We were all up in the Smoky Mountains and in a beautiful big log cabin, middle of nowhere, which was a great experience for all of us. And Zane and gave us the opportunity to watch the film, and I really felt drawn to its message, all the messages within the film. And Zane and I had a chat afterwards about me getting involved in being able to help spread the word here in Australia, which I'm very grateful for. We've got the event here in my home city, Adelaide, on Tuesday next week. So that's very exciting.
Wow.
But yeah, it's going to be
Wow,
great.
that was quick. You pulled that together pretty quickly.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Actually, only just launched it this week, but we've had some really great interest, and I'm sure the carnivore community will get behind it here and in other states too in Australia. They're all really keen on, being a part of it. Like you said, a lot of people asking, when can we see it? When are you coming to our city? Lots of excitement. But I'm wondering if maybe we could get you to talk a little bit firstly about you and your background in the health and fitness industry, and then how, a bit about the film. We'll go to the film after that.
Sure. Well, I've been in. Whoops, fell over. Sorry. I've been in fitness since 1998. So I started kind of experimenting with diet in my early 20s, in the mid 90s, and was just trying to avoid metabolic disease. I'd seen the kind of impact metabolic disease it had on my older relatives, and I didn't want that for me.
Yeah.
And my dad had been very active and watched his diet as well as we knew back then. But he paid attention to it. He did what he thought was right and was consistent. And he wasn't having the same issues as like his older brothers were with heart disease and diabetes and so forth. So that got under my skin somehow, some reason in my early 20s. I was kind of like I don't want that for me.
Mm.
And began experimenting with diet. I'd already been, working out consistently since college, since like 17, 18 years old. So it just kind of snowballed into something where like, I really would, cause we didn't have the internet at our fingertips back then, early mid 90s, so it's just read, experiment, talk to people, experiment. And that snowballed into becoming a professional trainer in 98 and starting to work with clients and again, continue to experiment with introducing low carb to my clients who wanted to lose weight back in 2002, and then playing with intermittent fasting in 2010, and went through a whole. I mean, just that was kind of my method was like read or hear about something and experiment personally, and then introduce it to the clients who I thought could be open to it or would benefit from it. And that's kind of been the journey, and with throughout the last 5-6 years, plugging in a little more to the community online, which was a low carb, carnivore, animal based, kind of a mixed community that's keto, obviously, that are all very connected at conferences, retreats, things like this. And so, in finding a sense of community there as well, where I had people who also were experimenting, had been through a lot of things, were communicating what they had experienced. And I think there's so much value in that, in being part of a community, whether it's exactly, even if you don't know what you're doing, you know what you're looking for, you're not sure for you. It's like, just start talking to people and get connected with people who have the same interest in moving the same direction, and be open-minded. And I think that's where I continue to learn and be challenged, is being plugged in that community, which is what led to the film, to me being involved in the film. And I wrote a book with Ken Berry, 3 years ago. We actually published it 2 years ago, and that led to my connection with the producer of this film, who asked me to be on his podcast. He wanted to do a film about meat in the human diet, and started introducing, as we kicked off the film, started introducing their crew and their director to people, doing interviews, and that just snowballed into me being the host, essentially, because I could connect with people and start introducing them. And so that's the short version. But basically, yeah, 27 years of working with people for their health, or fitness. Clientele now is a little bit older, 40 to 60, 65, and helping with all of the things that come with age and optimal health, and keeping going with their careers and their families, with that, the same level of energy they had, in their 20s and 30s. That's the idea, right? And avoiding metabolic disease. And so that's where the things kind of started branching out. Like, what else can we do? But that's the essential. That's the trajectory of my career. It's just been experimentation and just trying to help people with the main goal of avoiding metabolic disease.
That's so good, and I agree with you that there are different methods, and everybody has an opportunity to try something that at least will get them started or help them with something they're experiencing, and then they receive feedback. They have to listen to their body, receive the feedback, notice how they feel, and then make choices accordingly. You don't need to jump straight into carnivore if you don't want to. You could try, keto or paleo or something else, and then you could jump to carnivore and then see if that's if that works for you and how you feel. And then if you don't want to stay there, you can go back, to something else. But I love that message that it empowers the person to be able to make a choice that best suits them. Because, everyone's got something different going on. And I've realized, and from having conversations with people there at Meat Stock, that everyone's doing it a little bit differently, and that is to suit whatever it is they're going through, what kind of, illness they may have, or some kind of health issue or mental health issue, skin issue, and everyone's doing it a little bit differently. But I think when you said about experimenting, because I've done a lot of that over the years, what's working for me, what's not working for me. Right now I'm trying no butter to see, how I go with no butter in my diet. I don't have any other dairy, so I'm just upping my fats and removing butter just because I'd like to see what that does to me. I'm getting into my 40s, so hormonally, I'm really interested to see how that might impact me in a positive way. So, yeah, but I can't make an assumption on that without my own experience. And again, that's what I say to everybody. Like you can't say or make past judgment or comment, especially on carnivore, if you haven't experienced it. You really need to have your own experience and then see how you feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Just let people walk their journey. If they're not emotionally and mentally ready to take on a change, they're not going to put the effort or the time into letting it do its whatever work that it would work for them. And their attitude has to be one that is allowing that to happen. If they're already if they're negative or fearful about it going in, that's going to impact not only the way they walk it out, but how they perceive the experience, how they perceive the results, and they may be negative. They won't see the positive. Every change and every I think tool has risks and benefits, or things that you have to manage, and things that and then the benefits that come from it. And so your mindset as you're going into those particular strategies, using those strategies, whether it's exercise or diet or whatever it is, or something to help you sleep better, your mindset, your emotional state, and your attitude about that change has to be one where the person doing it is embracing it for it to really stick. And that's been my experience. They have to embrace it. They have to be ready for change. They have to be ready where they realize what I'm doing isn't working. I need to do something else, and or it's not working as well as it used to. So I need to adjust. And so that mindset where you let people walk their way toward a change, or become more aware as you coach. I mean, you coach people. You know what that's like. It's you have to, sometimes it's about asking questions and helping them kind of get your perspective without ramming it down their throat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
and also always bringing them back to their why. Why did they jump on this path in the first place? Because it's not easy always to make change, and I think people need to always remember why they step on the path when they're having a tough day. You saw my post today about going to the gym. Like it's something that I try to make a staple in my week. I don't like to miss going to the gym, because I know how important that is for me and for my body and how I feel. And so I just keep remembering why I go, when I sometimes think, oh, I could put it off, or I might go later, or maybe I don't have to go today. And I just, you feel so much better afterwards. So, yeah, I think, and also when people fall off the wagon, they want to get back on, they just have to remember why they're doing it. Yeah, so important.
Absolutely.
So important.
Absolutely.
You talked before about community, and I think, it was really apparent to me when I came there to Meat Stock, like how connected your community is over there. And for me, I was watching a lot of what was happening in the US for quite a few years beforehand. You know, I may have mentioned to you that I had seen the KetoCon event was happening, and a lot of the carnivores were speaking there, you know, a year or two before I ran my first event. And
Mm.
I was watching from here, and I'd run health and wellness events in the past, and I thought, well, might be really nice to create something like that in Australia, which is why I reached out to, you know, the Dr. Chafees and Bella, you know, about coming over and joining us in Adelaide, which they did, and it was amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's a beautiful thing when you bring people together like that and you have common interests and you're also living a lifestyle very similar to the others, because it can sometimes be a bit of a lonely journey when people around you aren't quite understanding what you're doing or doing the same. So you come to those
Right.
kind of environments, or you come to these events or these meetups, and you get to, you know, share stories and, you know, meet new people. And I mean, I was beautifully welcomed over there by everybody. They couldn't believe I'd flown all the way from Australia to come to meet stock.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, that's quite a haul to come in the middle of Tennessee.
well, oh no, to the top of the mountains.
Yeah, we were at the top. That was it was beautiful up there, and it's amazing that you were able to get. I think you did get to experience some great community there. People were very connected. I think, especially where we were staying with all the people who have, most of them have interacted before at other events. That one is a much more, I think, uh, private. I think compared to a lot of the big conferences where you have,
Yes.
2,000 people or even 1,000 people. This was much more personal, and so you really get to connect with everybody a lot more and see everybody more often.
Mm.
Um, I've been to big conferences and know people I've known for a couple of years and never see them. It's like we pass each other, never, or you get 2 minutes with them,
Yeah.
if you're lucky. And this was a very personal, more personal experience, I think, with everybody being so connected, eating together,
Having
hanging out at the
breakfast in the
cabin.
morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very connected, and which was, I think, that's what makes that particular um, event so special and so
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah.
You really have a chance to connect with everybody, and you're in beautiful. There's no distractions. I mean, you're in the middle of woods, you know, and it's really, again, you just get more of a connection with the people there.
Mm. Gosh, it was
So,
beautiful. Yeah. I miss it. Luckily, where I live, I've got the Adelaide Hills very close by. Takes me about 15 minutes to get there, and, you know, beautiful fresh air and surroundings. So very lucky here. We've got beach 20
yeah.
minutes away, hills 20 minutes away. So it's
Oh
really,
man,
yeah,
sounds perfect.
yeah. It is. It actually really is. How are you going for time? I know you have to leave at a certain point. Are we almost there? Just looking at
Oh,
your time.
I've got a little more time. You tell whatever you need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So let's talk maybe a bit more about the film.
Okay.
Um, so for those who don't know about the film, what is the purpose of the film Animal? Well, what is the main purpose and message in the film?
I think if you take the 30,000 foot view, so just a broad view, and
Mm.
that's what brought me in was the role of meat in the human diet, because it does take a specific and particular look at the carnivore diet for sure,
Mm.
because of some of the
Mm.
people we interviewed, so that most people will know of, like Ken Berry, Anthony Chafee, Sean Baker, Robert Kiltz, Bellamaw. Um, and then we also looked at some of the role of regenerative agriculture and contrasting the rancher's dilemma, in a sense, with trying
Yeah.
to get their meat directly to consumer versus having to sell many times out of survival to the industrial complex. And just like in the US, there's four big companies
Mm. Mm.
that handle all of the meat going to the grocery stores, basically, that most people eat. There's four big companies, and they are undercutting the ranchers. They are the ones bringing the meat, the cattle into the feedlots for 3 months or 6 months at a time, Many times, giving them injections and so forth that many people are that's a big concern, obviously, and causing those cattle to get in a much sicker state throughout that time that they're in that feedlot, right? Uh, as opposed to going directly to a rancher who's been, taking care of that cattle, knows everything that's ever had to ingest. If it needed medicine, it got it because it needed it. He's got records of it. He knows the life cycle of that animal, and he's feeding that same meat to his family. So the level of care is different, and going right to that versus going through the industrial complex. We try to highlight that to help people understand these ranchers were our earliest. I think of them as our earliest entrepreneurs and business owners. They were bringing they were creating food for the U.S.
Yeah.
And now most of the beef raised in the U.S. is going outside the U.S. to the Pacific Rim, and most of what we eat here is coming from places like Australia or Brazil or
Yeah.
Argentina or somewhere else.
I
And
heard
you
that.
could have a pack. Yeah,
I
it's
heard that
amazing.
a lot of people that I met said we can go to the supermarket and buy Australian beef,
Oh
or
yeah.
yeah, like they got access to it pretty easily. Yeah.
Well, in some cases, let's say you buy one 3 pounder. Let's say it's a you know a 2 kilo or 1 kilo package of beef, to put it, and you could have in that one package of ground beef cows from 3 different countries,
Oh,
and
really?
the
Okay.
DNA from 90 different cattle could be found in that one package. Whereas if you buy right from a rancher, you're getting a package of beef is one cow, and it's where it's from,
Mm.
and it didn't come too far away, and it's high quality meat. So it, there's a big difference in when our beef is being sold at a higher price in another country, and what's being brought in here is being labeled U.S. beef because it was processed here or because it was packaged here.
Mm.
That's not what the customer understands or thinks.
Yeah.
And so there is a difference when you're transporting, when you're processing, when it's going through that feedlot. It's just there's a there's a difference. And so if someone's packaged like grass-fed, grass-finished beef from Australia, and that's what it is, that's one thing. When you've got a mix of 90 different cattle and one small package of beef from 3 different countries,
Mm.
that can impact the quality of that meat. That's going to be reflective of the quality of that meat and what that meat's gone through before it got to you.
Yeah.
And so most people don't understand that. So basically supporting our ranchers uh, and understanding the difference with regenerative agriculture, like the fact that they are taking care of the land because they live off the land.
Yeah.
They're not. They're putting back. They're putting nutrients back into the soil. They're trying to improve the land because that creates a greater yield for them. They have more grass that's easier to feed their cattle. And then we do have Kate Shanahan on talking about the impact of processed food and seed oils in our diet, which was an amazing addition. And understanding how that has and the history of that, where we came to the industry or the nutrition authorities and the AHA, the American Heart Association, started demonizing saturated fat because of a financial interest in promoting polyunsaturated cooking fats, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then the history of the vegetarian movement that started here in the U.S. that has become worldwide, still very active, although not as visible in their way how active they are, but they very much affect the nutrition advice that we hear through organizations they created. But where the origins of that, I think, would shock a lot of people,
Mm.
where the vegetarian movement came and how it grew to um, its level of influence it has now through processed cereals, processed food, and the money that came from that, turning that
Mm-hmm.
money into influence
Yes.
over government advice, government nutrition advice, government-based nutrition advice, mainstream advice that's impacting schools, hospitals, military, and then everything our nutritionists are taught.
Yeah.
So there's not more than just um, a look at carnivore throughout
Mm.
this film,
Mm. Mm.
and it gives people a perspective. I think people who are even outside, ideally people who are outside the community who aren't
Yeah.
familiar with it, a different perspective on why meat is essential and historically part of the human diet, and it's the most nutrient dense food you can consume,
Yes.
and why we're hearing the opposite. What are the financial interests involved that are changing the messaging about the benefits of animal products, animal foods?
Yeah.
And so that, to keep it full circle, and that it can be should be a sustainable diet for any country to
Yes.
have, raising beef, raising meat of some sort, whether it's lamb, whatever it is, goat, whatever is indigenous to um, that area. This is part of our our heritage, our traditions, as well as our ancient history.
Mm. Yeah.
And all these diseases that we're experiencing now, this level of metabolic disease is very new. It has only come on in the 20th century. And so, I have fireworks somehow.
Wow.
Jeez.
What did you just think? You must have done some.
I I don't know what I said. I don't. Somebody's listening somewhere in the phone. I don't know what that is. Um, but that we have come from a place of, meat was always on the table,
Yeah.
and and
Mhm.
and and we didn't have any history of a negative health impact from it. This recent history of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, those are new things in the last 120 years.
Mm.
Those didn't come on from something we've always eaten. Those
Yeah.
came on from new additions to our food system, based
Yes.
essentially processed food.
Yeah.
And so that's I think the bigger message throughout this
Mhm.
is like, you're hearing messaging rejecting something we've always eaten, blaming this ancient food on a new level of disease, which does not make sense. It's not even logical. It's
Yeah.
not historically accurate, and
Yeah.
there's no mechanism in our bodies for that to actually take place.
Mm. Yes. Exactly. It's a really important message, and I also think a lot of people kind of know, but aren't taking much action, or are too afraid to. And we just don't
Yeah,
want people, we don't want people to have to create change because they have something significant from a health perspective come up. This film gives such important information that could be utilized so that you don't have to get to a point where you need to make change because you're unwell. And I guess that's what you, or everybody in the community out there, everyone in the film, myself, like we're just out here trying to help people get informed and then make informed choices. And then, like you
right.
said, implement change and have your own experience so that you can live a life of wellness to thrive. Why shouldn't we? We have the ability to, and I think a lot of people are aware that they're either eating the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing to their lifestyle, but they're not making the changes. So to watch a film like this, it just gives the information that people are probably either aware of or not aware of, and helps them to then make some changes in their life. You know?
Right.
So,
That is the idea, is to help people understand that, again, where the negative news comes from, where the negative advice came from, against meat, and then help them understand this is beneficial to you in whatever way you include it in your life. It's beneficial. It's beneficial to the environment when done correctly. It benefits the environment. We can't have grassy prairies without ruminants eating on those prairies. We can't. That they're part of the cycle that
mm,
grows the grass. I mean, they're integral to it. And if we didn't have we didn't have ruminants grazing, we wouldn't have grass.
mm,
We would go. They're very much part of that life cycle, the
yes,
carbon cycle,
yes,
and um, so it's really to help them manage all of these arguments that have come in against meat, from health to environmental to sustainability financially. Um, it's really and then where the problem came in, where the processed food actually created these diseases that we keep blaming on our ancient food.
mm,
Um, so it tries to answer all of those questions for people to go, oh, okay, and check the box for them as they're going through their head of all the things they've heard,
mm,
so that they feel like, okay, okay, there's a way through this, whatever their obstacle is, there's a way through that they can feel good about whatever change they may need to make, or embracing this and not feeling that resistance, not having some resistance to, oh, this may have a negative outcome here. It's like we try to address those potential thoughts for a negative outcome because they're false narratives.
Yeah. Also, people, I find, a bit like if you wanted to book a hotel or go to a restaurant, you'd be looking at reviews. I like to see what other people's experiences have been. So a film like this, where you've got a heap of different experiences from people included in it, and then you can jump online and go and watch someone like Australian Dave Mack, who's in Japan, and he's got a YouTube channel where he's done over 1,000 interviews, carnivore interviews. Like the stories are out there, and there's a lot.
I mean,
There's a lot that a lot of people can. There's a lot of people out there sharing their stories, so it's great to be able to have the film and all these people online. Technology is great for that. Helps us connect. In that way, it's a great tool to help us connect and get information that we need.
right. Stories are great. We have so many that we just couldn't fit into the film. Like we have so many interviews from. We did a lot of our interviews with some of the main speakers or interviewees in the film in Los Angeles, but we were also in Austin, Nashville, Wyoming, and getting interviews with people at events that are just their experience with carnivore, their experience with change and what they're walking through or what they came through. And so many we couldn't possibly fit in there. I mean, we have so many we could do a series, honestly, with what we had of a lot of stories, a lot of testimonials that you're saying. But they are out there. There's plenty of them. Like you said, there's plenty of them out there. If you're looking for more of those, not hard to find. And our writer and director, Josh Feldman, I think you interviewed, correct?
Not yet.
Did you interview?
Not yet.
Oh, it's coming up? Okay.
Yeah. We're just scheduling that in.
Okay. So Josh, he did a great job of trying to mix information with stories and made the visuals engaging. So for someone who's who's very much excited about this message, they may not need those visuals, right, to keep them excited and watching and engaged. But there's a lot of visuals he put in there, so it's not just a static, two people sitting in a room with some chairs pulled up and some mics around them. And it's not. There's definitely interviews like that, but there's not. He changed the scenery, he changed the visuals with some animation built in to keep people who are just maybe this is completely new to. This is so foreign to them; they've never heard anything like it. Yeah, but just to keep them engaged, to stimulate the eyeballs, to stimulate the brain, their attention span. So this is not your typical dry interview documentary, people sitting on a soundstage with mics. There's a lot of movement. He tries to keep the edit going, so it's like, which he did a great job with the story where it bounces from person to person a bit with good energy and some visuals that are stimulating and keep you kind of again visually awake, visually engaged. So it's not your. I guess I haven't seen another documentary with this level of art kind of woven through it.
Yeah,
and in a sense, to keep the viewer dialed in,
engaged. Yeah, I mean, I said that in that video that you posted from Meat Stock, where I said it's just really easy to follow, and so it's a really easy watch. I agree with everything you just said about how it was put together. I loved it.
That's our director, Josh. He's wrote it, directed it, and was very involved in the visual and the edit.
Yes,
that's where a lot of the work came in as well. After we were done filming, he was at it. He saw more of me than my family did, probably just watching those films 12 hours a day.
I can imagine. I can imagine. I mean, it takes a lot to put something like this together. Totally understand. I would say, how long did the filming take? Do you know? Like, was it over a year or longer?
Well, our actual filming was, I think, June through into November, mostly through October into November a bit last year. And then with all the production stuff, they really pushed it. And
Yeah.
with the current conversation changing, especially in the U.S., around
Mm.
health and diet and food that was woven into the political um, scenery, so to speak,
Yeah.
the political conversation. There was a lot of health came to the forefront, and
Mm.
so like we got to get this out now because the conversation is hot, and so
Hmm.
they pushed the production. They went straight from through November, December, January, into a little bit of February, with so about three good months of post production with the edit, with the visuals, with the sound, just really trying to dial everything we filmed. But as far as actually capturing it all, it was like a June through, so a good 4.5, 5 months or so.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. Not that long.
Yeah.
It's actually very well done.
No, it was a quick. I mean, it felt long. We're doing. I mean, but there were times when it was like I'd finish up somewhere like Wyoming. Okay, we need you in LA in 10 days. Okay, we need you back. And then it was the wait. We were asking what was going to with understanding. There's a whole lot of production to happen once we film it. So I got to see both sides. Where I heard people say, "Hey, well, who are in it? When will this be ready? When will this be available?" And from our side, it was like if they're going as fast as they possibly could to get
Yeah.
this out, to catch this message, get this message out while this conversation is so hot. People are looking for answers, and that's the thing, is when the conversation reaches this level where we're seeing things like health and food additives and chronic disease, which has never been really truly addressed,
Mm.
um, as well as it has now, being discussed on the news, in Congress, in our Congress. Um, it was, and see, many of the people that we only saw on social media now addressing Congress. They're being interviewed on national news. It's like this. We've never seen anything like this, and so it was just an
Mm.
opportunity. Like, let's get this
Yeah,
out there now, be part of the conversation.
absolutely. I agree with you. The conversation is important. Oh, good.
Yeah,
Oh,
Amazon delivery.
early.
It's early. No, but it really is. It's really, I've never thought I'd hear something like, red dye number or whatever you name it, and seed oils and
Yeah.
um, all glyphosate, all these things being mentioned on national news as something they're like, we need to watch out for these. I
Mm.
think we have states that are starting to ban them.
Mm.
Finally, some of these are banned in Europe, and they may be banned in Australia as well. They're banned in other countries, but the manufacturer is based in the U.S. and they are including far more ingredients in some of these foods
Yeah.
than they include ingredients in other countries, than the ingredients they include in the other countries. So we know they can do it because they're doing it in other countries.
Yeah.
Same product, same. So there's the ability is there, but there was no will, there was no reason, there was no pressure.
Yeah.
And so now the pressure's on, like, let's clean up your your list of ingredients, what you're including in these foods,
Yeah.
or we're going to have individual states saying, we're not going to allow these foods here. You're not going to be
Mm.
allowed to bring these food additives into our. And so that seems like I realize that's far removed from carnivore, or far removed from an animal-based whole food diet, but this much change this fast, where we have the pressure, the political and financial pressure being placed on these companies that have just been profiting for so long off of processed food, with no
Mm.
regard for how it impacts the health of the consumers on a nationwide basis, and yet they've bent to the pressure in other countries. it's it should anger a lot of people
Yeah,
that they've been
absolutely.
able to get away with. Yeah, and if they're
Yeah.
willing to do, like, well, they made changes in other countries. Why wouldn't they bring those changes here voluntarily? And these foods are most of maybe the people watching wouldn't touch, but
Mm,
but if you think about it as a nation, they're being consumed. And
mm,
so the reality is, we're not going to create a perfect environment. We're not going to create a perfect country in the matter of a few years with a movement. But what we can do is change the conversation. Hey, Valerie,
yeah.
I guess someone come on here saying hi. Uh, Change the conversation where people are aware, and that's
Yeah.
the beginning of their journey. So
Yes.
we're starting new journeys for people who don't give this a thought and don't realize what
Mm,
it has on their health. And the
yes.
fact that these companies already made these changes in other countries, why can't they make it here? It just becomes it gives people asking questions and thinking more about their diet and how to clean it up. And it may it begin more journeys of questions and thoughtfulness about what they put in their bodies.
Yes.
And if that's, if we can be part of that, that's that's rewarding in of itself. It's not just for the carnivore community or the animal-based community. It's to it's to help people understand
Yeah.
you can do better.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And we can create some top-down pressure, but it also begins with the individual
Yeah. Making
making
good
better.
choices. They just don't know what
Yeah.
they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. There's a lot of people that really don't know what's going on. I don't know if I shared with you. I may have, but for those who don't know who are watching, I started my journey back in 2010 after having a whole heap of unrelated health issues that just weren't related to each other. One thing after the other, and then at its worst, my left ear starts ringing, really high pitched ringing, and I'm diagnosed with, as you say in the States, tinnitus. I say
Oh
tinnitus.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so a ringing in the ear, they say never goes away. Here's some steroid nasal sprays and blood thinners, and you'll need to take these the whole rest of your life, and there's nothing we can do for you. And I just said, if my body's created this, then it's clearly something I'm doing. And from that point, I just eliminated anything artificial that I was eating. I removed certain things from my diet, included some new lifestyle choices, looked at my emotional well-being, and everything turned around. Everything.
Wow.
I lowered the ringing significantly. I know what makes it worse, and that's what set me on the path. And this is why I'm so passionate about all of this, is because I don't want someone at 26 years old losing their silence in their ear because
Mm.
I'm making poor choices. That was all me. That was all my fault, but I just didn't know any better because that's just what I'd always done. No one told me any different, so I'm grateful that that happened because it set me on the journey, but I don't want other people to have to go through that or anything like that, to have to make change.
That's incredible. You're able to impact tinnitus because most people just think, okay, I'm stuck with this. This is it. This is something that's either genetic or I was exposed to too much loud music as a kid, which most of us were, and and yet then something like where it's an inflammatory issue, right? That you've addressed. You've reduced inflammation
Yeah,
throughout your body,
yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
where it was kind of
Yeah,
showing itself.
yeah. My body was just under a heap of stress, and yeah, I wasn't taking notice. And it's like, right, you're going to take notice of us, or we're just going to scream in your ear and get your attention.
Mhm.
Kind of how I
Yeah, it's
see
a
it.
nerve response. Nerves are inflamed. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think uh, going back to what you said, is like, can we help people avoid these problems before
Yeah.
they're sick? And for some people, it's unfortunate they have to get sick to make change, and that's unfortunate. They have to get. It's like where's your line? What line do you cross when you finally say, okay, I've had enough?
Yes.
And and it's a different place for each person what they're willing to endure
Mm.
until they finally turn around, but then they don't have answers, or their answers that are being given are like Valerie was joking, and here she came on to make sure I'm not telling people to go vegan, and it's like the answers they're given are go vegan, or they're going to clean it up at this week, and any message like that is worded or positioned in a place to, when someone's desperate for healing, they're going to start trying things.
Yes.
And even and for many people, that is the beginning. Like can't tell you how many people I've met who are carnivore or animal based, and they were once vegan. I followed when I started my journey in my 20s. I went vegetarian, and for there were many months of those vegetarian time, I was vegan. Like I
Mhm.
didn't touch dairy. I rarely had dairy. Back then, vegetarian wasn't really you. If you ate eggs and dairy, you would say lacto-ovo vegetarian. Now,
Mhm.
vegetarian seems to automatically include it, but it was vegetarian. What really the definition of vegan? Most of that 3.5 years until
Wow.
that ran out of benefit. Like I hit a wall, got sick, couldn't come back. My immune system was so weakened, and I'd lost a lot of muscle,
Yeah.
and was hungry all the time, never feeling satisfied, overtrained because I was still working out. And I realized I need more protein, and so I started introducing something as simple as whey protein, some salmon, and some eggs, and it was like, wham, just woke everything up. It just made a tremendous within 2 weeks. Like I
Yeah.
just stopped, I
I
forgot to
believe
drink
that.
coffee,
Yeah.
and so um, it let me know, okay, you've been missing this for the last 3.5 years, but
Yeah.
it took walking through it.
Yeah.
And it was the beginning of me looking for answers. So that was my first step in looking for answers of how to avoid metabolic disease. And though it ended in a disaster, essentially, it ended at a point where it's like, it's just not, this is obviously not working. It helped me keep going on. So people are at different
Mhm.
places in their journey. They're going to try different things, which is great. And so sometimes vegan is on that path, or vegetarian's on that path, or something else. Whatever that is, um, it's still their journey.
Yes.
And so if we can help them maybe move along that journey a little faster and not suffer through it, not till they're at another point of suffering
Yeah.
because they're missing nutrients. They've eliminated a lot of bad stuff, but maybe they're missing a lot of what they need. And I think that's where um, that's having these conversations and hearing people's testimonials, hearing
Mm.
other people's journeys. That's part of that community. It's
Yeah.
part of films like where we can help people go, I can relate to that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what's happening to me.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I do need to try this. And it
Yeah.
just helps people get some answers along that road and understand, you know, um, that they aren't stuck. They
Yes.
aren't left with,
Yeah.
an option that's not working for them.
Yes.
And if we can help people get unstuck, I mean, and just keep rolling forward. It, I mean, it's done its job. It's
Yeah.
done its purpose.
Yes. And I'm certain that's exactly what it will do for anybody who watches it. You're right. It's not just for the carnivores out there. Most of the carnivores know the messages. It's always great
Right.
to hear more stories and hear more information, and we're always learning. But you're right. It is a great opportunity for those who are just getting started on their journey or have to make some changes to check out. I'm hearing
Mhm.
a lot lately. I've heard a lot of people with like histamine issues and allergies and hormone hormone and autoimmune. Like there's just so much of that happening right now, more than I've ever heard before. So I feel for all these people, and there were a fair few at Meatstock who were early on in their journeys or really trying to work through it, and I really feel
Yes.
for people who don't yet quite have the answers. And like we call it the carnivore diet, but it's not a diet to lose weight. It's a lifestyle change and choice that we make to live better and feel better. And I often say I feel like I can see things colors clearer, and like I'm experiencing life at a different level that I hadn't before. And, you know, I want everybody to have that experience. That's not just reserved for a select number of people. It's available
Right.
to everybody, so that's why I'm very
Yeah.
passionate about what I'm doing here in Australia and what's happening over there. And I'll be back at Meatstock next year involved as well, which will be great. Um,
Good.
yeah, very excited to come back. But yeah, so awesome. Is there anything else you think we've missed about the film or anything else? I think we've covered a whole heap of great
We've
information.
we've covered a lot. We've covered a lot. I think it's just watch it when it comes
Yeah,
available. It'll probably be there on Apple Plus. I'm guessing is
yeah,
what'll be on,
good,
and I would think within 2 or 3 weeks,
good.
it
Yeah,
should be.
I didn't realise actually there was a little delay for Australians to watch it online. So as soon as um, as soon as we've got that information, we'll share it with everybody. And yeah, for those, we're definitely doing Adelaide and Sydney to begin with.
All right.
Some small, like some intimate um, film screening events that I'll be hosting. And then I'm
Fantastic.
hoping to get to Melbourne, Gold Coast, and Perth as well.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. We appreciate that so much. Thank you,
Oh, you're
Melissa, for doing
welcome.
that. Like
No.
when you mentioned we met, I thought, yeah, amazing. That'd be fantastic. Let's make it happen. And so
Yeah.
that's fantastic. You're able to pull that together. I mean, shortly after the release, and we're into July, and you've already got this rolling, and I'm amazed. So
You.
thank you.
No, you're
Appreciate doing
welcome.
that. And
No, I appreciate
um,
your help with that. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to. I mean, the carnivore community is amazing, and carnivore and the keto wars, and just bringing everyone together. Low carb movement is pretty big here in Australia. So yeah, I'm excited to reconnect with everybody, and yeah, lots more to come, I'm sure.
yes, yes, great.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. I know it's early, but it's nice and bright there. 'Cause
No,
at least it's summer.
it's
Nice and
summer. It's
warm.
hot already. It's already hot and steamy out here. So, but I'm happy to join you. I appreciate you asking me to come on and talk to your people out there in Australia. Just hey, go see the film. Find
Yes.
out where Melissa's events are and go meet some of the community and
Yeah, absolutely.
meet with the community.
Yeah, yeah.
Have
Come and
some
meet
meet with
us.
the community.
Yeah,
Uh, but
absolutely.
yeah, enjoy the film and connect. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that the or major aspect of this is connecting. You know,
Mm,
it's
yeah.
connecting with people who are
Yes.
all also looking for answers and who have that focus on improving their health.
Mm.
So
There's always an excitement and buzz in the rooms. At my events, Carnivore Live, I held last year and this year. Like the buzz in the room is always very noticeable. It was the same at Meatstock. I mean, it was exactly the same. I loved it. Yeah.
awesome.
Awesome. Well, have a lovely day, and
All
we'll
right.
keep in touch with
You have
you.
a good night.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll speak
Thanks,
soon.
Melissa.
See you. Thanks to everyone
Bye.
who joined. See you later.